Thank you, Tish. And good morning to Team GEOINT. All right, good morning to Team GEOINT. Better. Thank you, UV. I heard you out there. What a great lead-in. I'm going to pick up that baton that Scott handed me on the way out of the stage, and I'm going to carry that conversation a little further and a little higher. Tish mentioned my history at this symposium. It is long-lasting and deeply committed to the conversations that happen here. The teamwork that's represented in this room, quite frankly, is critical to the future of our country and our international partners. Now, humanity has been greatly advantaged by the global connectivity and the common access to data. Such transparency should lead to shared awareness, if not mutual understanding. And yet, in this increasingly transparent world, shared awareness is elusive, and mutual understanding remains difficult, if not impossible. Literally, our anchor points are at risk. Facts are not what they used to be. What's real? What's artificial? What's fabricated? And how do we know? In such a world that's less tethered to ground truth, one grasps for context and coherence, to safe passage to a protected harbor. Now, our profession has always provided such refuge and such assuredness. Today and tomorrow, GEOINT remains the essential discipline. And I'm proud to say that we here on Team GEOINT provide America and her allies with the world's premier geospatial intelligence service, period. But allow me to be equally clear. Our future success is not guaranteed. In the face of renewed great power competition and the proliferation of geospatial capabilities, we must work continually to ensure the continued dominance of GEOINT to protect American interests in the future. One of my bosses, Undersecretary Kernan, spoke about the race that we're in. And it is a struggle. It's a struggle to win, because win we must. Now, in the next few minutes, I intend to show you, not just tell you, what we are doing today to ensure that we are good enough tomorrow. I'll do that by exploring the art and the science, as well, or if you prefer, the science and the art of GEOINT, of our profession. I'll celebrate our storied past, and we'll drive into our vibrant future. I'm also excited to share this stage today and our future with a few of the heroes of Team GEOINT. They are the ones who are discovering, defining, and delivering the future that the world demands and our customers deserve. I spoke last year of the importance of science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And I must say, we're pretty good at STEM. We have identified the necessary data science skills for Team GEOINT to recruit, hire, train, and elevate our officers. To that end, in the next 3 years, we intend to train all of our NGA teammates in computational thinking and basic coding. And we will provide advanced data science training to those who must have it. Now, I'm also the US GEOINT Functional Manager, and I plan to include data science within our GEOINT professional certifications, and will incorporate data competencies into our current certifications. Now, speaking of certifications, I'm very pleased to announce that just last Friday, NGA became the first entity within the Department of Defense to receive national accreditation for Level 1 and Level 2 certification programs. I told you we were in this to win, because win we must. Now, on Team GEOINT, we also know that we need to add art to the mix. Different perspectives are essential to multifaceted teams to really get things done. Now, last year, I projected that if we were to manually exploit the future imagery that we expect, we would need to hire 8 million imagery analysts. Now, even in the best of budget times, this isn't going to happen. We're going to be off. in this case by 7.999 million. So we need to find another way. I now want to share this stage with those who are picking up the baton and racing forward to win. It's my privilege to introduce Jolene Hess. She's a geospatial analyst, and Jolene has a story to tell.
Thank you. While studying geography and GIS at the University of Utah, an NGA representative from Denver came and spoke to my class, convincing me that NGA was the place to be. So a few years later, with an amazing group of tech-savvy colleagues, I created a viewer for interactive, customer-focused data visualization. It holds all the data NGA analysts and our military planning and policy customers need. The viewers are currently being used at State Department, DIA, CIA, as well as by customers and mission partners in Europe and Asia, where it provides a focal point for geospatial data, reporting, and products. I'm proud that I've improved the conveyance of what differentiates NGA, our GEOINT insight.
Thanks, Jolene. Jolene and the rest of Team GEOINT stand on the shoulder of giants. In 1439, Johann Gutenberg fundamentally changed the way humans convey content by inventing the printing press with movable type. This engineering achievement fueled the Renaissance, an explosion in human achievement. Just 13 years later, someone brilliant in both science and art and science was born in Vinci, Italy. Just last fall, Walter Isaacson's biography of Leonardo da Vinci came out. Da Vinci was much more than just the painter of the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. He imagined scuba gear, flying machines, and helicopters. And this drawing was the foremost study of the human anatomy. Per Isaacson, Leonardo's Vitruvian Man embodies a moment when art and science combine to allow mortal minds to probe timeless questions about who we are and how we fit into the grand order of the universe. And you can imagine my pleasant surprise when Isaacson referred to Da Vinci's map of the town of Imola and noted the resemblance to the maps on the walls of NGA. So what made Leonardo, Leonardo? Above all else, relentless curiosity. Leonardo just had to know how the world works, and he had to show that knowledge to others, all to understand the world in a deeper way. Now that's also the kind of thing that leads to a great agency motto. Wait for it. Wait for it. Imagine it. His curiosity blended observation with imagination. He documented the world as it is. He dreamed about the world as it could be. Science and art and science. Upon Leonardo's path, others followed. About a century later, Galileo picked up that baton and raced forward. In our profession, he pioneered the telescope. After years of financial struggles, Galileo sold what we would call a minimal viable product to the leaders of Venice, at the time the world's greatest trading center. And they set that telescope up in the bell tower of St. Mark's Square. It provided Venice with indications and warning of the most pressing problem lurking on the port's horizons and threatening their way of life. Pirates. Galileo literally claimed that high ground and used technology to reach out to the horizon and pull the future into focus. Now here's our next member of Team GEOINT, United States Air Force Staff Sergeant Joshua Friesen.
I am an imagery analyst. I was first stationed at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, when I heard about NGA's counterterrorism mission. I was excited to see what I could do in that area. My team's mission is to exploit motion GEOINT, provide real-time, persistent surveillance with the United States Special Operations Command. Our products enhance the warfighter's ability to see the battle space, both before and during combat operations. It's a very gratifying mission. I am proud to serve and help our fellow service members and to keep them out of harm's way.
Thanks, Josh. A few months ago, a new national security strategy was published, followed by a new national defense strategy. Our 2025 strategy will be out soon, and it'll be our guidepost to the future. In a world where knowns are elusive and confidence is fleeting, GEOINT must be instantly available, expertly validated, highly trusted, and easily consumable. Here are our 2025 goals. Inspire and grow our world-class GEOINT workforce. Fuel and drive the global GEOINT enterprise. Secure and deliver the nation's most trusted GEOINT, and bring the future into focus to anticipate the opportunities and foresee threats. The first goal is the most important, our people. And that brings us to our third member of Team GEOINT, Jamie Lazzari, who also has a story to tell.
Thank you. In 2006, NGA recruited me when I was a geoscientist on the Boeing Shuttle Radar Topography mission. Last year, I joined NGA's Digital Attack Team. It was created to see how a small team could drive disruptive innovation at the agency. Recently, we used commercial methods like lean startup and human-centered design to create a tool called Conduit. It allows our NGA support team at the Pentagon to quickly search their most written report types, going through 104 sources and over 500 reports. The team can then format high-interest database entries into a one-page summary that allows policymakers to make quick decisions with the most up-to-date GEOINT possible. Conduit has not only provided a 90% time reduction for these analysts, it allows them more time to spend crafting better summaries.
Thanks, Jamie. Jamie recently joined our Office of Ventures and Innovation. She is now running a technology contest there. We sponsor that contest. We created that office, led by Christy Monaco, to expand our tent, to accelerate our risk-taking, and to move purposefully to innovation. By the way, Christy will be giving a speaker spotlight at the NGA booth right after I'm done here today. Now, great ideas have to start somewhere. Fortunately, our profession has amazing role models, like the legendary oceanographic cartographer, Marie Tharp. She created the first complete map of the ocean floor. Now, she had science with a degree in math, and she had art with degrees in English and music. Marie revolutionized geography with her discovery that the ocean floor had mountain ranges and rift valleys. And this led to the proof of plate tectonics. Now, we all accept that as indisputable today, but in the 1950s, Marie was mocked. Now, Marie persevered, even though she was not allowed aboard nautical collection missions because women were thought to bring bad luck to ships. Nevertheless, she persisted. Our next teammate, Chelsea Ziegler, is a great example of someone who applied curiosity and tenacity to advance her craft.
I discovered NGA during a career fair at James Madison University, where I was a double major in international affairs and political science. I've been working on a team that focuses on big data analytics within a multi-environment. My customers are senior policymakers, other members of the intelligence community, combatant commands, and the Commonwealth mission partners. Whatever they want, whether it be a year, a month, a day, an hour, I can break the activity that we're looking at into that time period with the use of a time slider. It provides a more holistic threat assessment of the battle space. Thanks to ABI, activity-based intelligence, my team has been able to increase formal production by nearly 400%. We've been able to do this by incorporating custom analytical scripts that encourage efficiency by automating some of our data harvesting and conditioning processes. And we've actually been able to illustrate some of our enemy's military doctrine.
Thanks, Chelsea. Now, a few minutes about automation, artificial intelligence, and augmentation, otherwise known as AAA. Now let me be clear. I am not afraid of AI. In fact, I've been anxiously anticipating it for 35 years. In the past year, NGA has ingested more than 12 million images. We've generated more than 50 million indexed observations. 75% of those were derived from automated algorithms. As I said, we are in to win. Now, unfortunately, most of this data remains hard to access and thus hard to use. You know that old saying, we have all the answers, they're in there somewhere, we just can't find them. To get there, we must continue to advance our broker construct and leverage automation and machine learning. So this is where we could especially use your help, because we need greater focus by industry and academia to mature these efforts into long-lasting and accessible capabilities. In other words, to elevate us. Success in this area is essential, and it is attainable, and we are acting now. Since the last symposium, we've launched dozens of AAA projects. One recent development was a proof of concept with two specific goals. First, automate our imagery observations from image pixel to object identification, and automate the text reports related to those observations from exploitation to documentation. Now, that first goal required thousands of historic data points to train the machine to identify objects of interest. Once the machine learned to identify these objects, they were automatically populated into the database. Now, since we've started this project, we have yielded more than 3,000 human-driven, computer-generated unique database updates. Now, this may sound very straightforward. Trust me, it's not, especially as we scale this across our enterprise. It is a profound change, and it is our future, and it's happening today. Currently, we have an expert who reviews and approves the reports before they're entered into that final database. But once we have our governance structure in place with acceptable accuracy levels, we will fully automate from image to all source database and intelligence repository. I have one major objective when it comes to all of this. We plan to apply AAA to every image we ingest at NGA by the end of this year. That's 252 days from now. And I have some teammates who believe we can do it even sooner. And here's another area in which I need your help. Of course, the real point in pursuing automation and AI is not simply to do it because we can, rather it's to better carry out our mission, to better anticipate opportunities, to foresee threats. And by the way, if you'd like to hear more about our AAA efforts, please visit our speaker spotlight with Dave Gauthier at the NGA booth at 11:30 on Wednesday. And now, I turn the stage over to a true machine learning expert, Samuel Dooley.
I joined NGA through a SMART scholarship, a program that pairs students with DoD agencies. I was at the University of Chicago, and I'm about to begin my PhD. At NGA, I work on computer vision and machine learning, and my focus is on releasing data to advance the state-of-the-art in object detection and overhead imagery. To accomplish this, NGA has partnered with the Defense Innovation Unit Experimental, DIOX, in Silicon Valley to release the XView dataset. It is the largest publicly available dataset of objects in satellite imagery. XView is now available to companies, academic groups, and individuals to train algorithms to automatically detect objects in those images.
Thanks, Samuel. Now, our GEOINT services approach continues not only to deliver new things, it also shows us how to do things new. The next two examples were developed under the leadership of our Chief Information Officer, Tanya Pemberton. This is a picture of our NGA Warfighter Support Team, led by John Estridge. He's somewhere in the center of that picture, and he's somewhere in the center of the front row here. Now, when Amazon upgraded their Snowball storage devices, they embraced disruptive innovation to respond to CENTCOM and PACOM needs. A few weeks ago, our team delivered this innovation to the tactical edge in South Korea. Hosting applications on an Amazon Snowball had not been done before. And the team at Pixia created the software to rapidly handle large files, and put those files to warfighting use. They took big data in small devices with austere comms. I saw this and I felt this firsthand in Afghanistan last month. So the art was to reimagine a storage device. The science was to develop intuitive cloud-native applications that can be hosted on that storage device. And they all came together to make a difference. I need to shout out as well to Boundless for their key role and to welcome their recent headquarters move from New York City to downtown St. Louis. This is the iSpy team. They developed a lightweight, web-based imagery streaming service that requires no licensing or special training. It provides an electronic light table to access and use imagery using our cloud environment, anywhere we have a SIPR or a JWICS connection. So we can put imagery in the iSpy service into one box. We can throw it onto a truck or a ship or a C-130 and have NGA products and services anywhere, anytime. This is the Pisces team at Southern Command. Pictured our NGA embeds in the J2 GEOINT division and industry partners from 3 gimbals, all leveraging Planet daily imagery. Pisces is an algorithm to help analysts understand patterns of life at key ports in Latin America and the Caribbean. It can count ships in the ocean, but was designed to do more, to monitor port activity and capacity. This is the Vector Tiles team. Vector Tiles trims down geospatial data so it's more responsive and more usable to those with reduced or degraded connectivity. Vector Tiles load a lot quicker while retaining the attributes of traditional vector tiles. Oh, and by the way, their t-shirts refer to that saying, "No cause is lost if there is but one fool left to fight for it." Fight indeed. Fight to win. Here are the Watchman and NDAS teams. NDAS stands for NSG Data Analytic Architecture Service, which is our scalable automation cluster. Watchman enables analysts to apply state-of-the-art deep learning and quickly processes large amounts of images with no specialized knowledge. And it delivers reports around the world and around the clock based upon user-generated areas of interest. This is the GNOME team, NSG Open Mapping Enclave. GNOME uses volunteer geographic information to create, assemble, and disseminate crowdsourced geographic data. It's like Waze or OpenStreetMaps by allowing users to share relevant information in real time. So if a soldier on patrol identifies a new police station in a neighborhood, she can automatically add that police station to the map. That in turn updates the shared GNOME database so that all partners can see the change immediately. In Afghanistan, this gives General Nicholson a common view where all coalition forces, including our Afghan partners, can work simultaneously with the same foundation. Our teammate Jim Hicks will demonstrate GNOME at the NGA booth today at 3 and tomorrow at 1:30. Last but not least, this is the team responsible for creating escape and evasion charts for downed pilots. They make a durable map designed to help someone who's trapped behind enemy lines in basic survival and evasion. It's a tried and true mission. Now, I'm proud of all these teams and all that they've accomplished, and they are literally designing and delivering our future. Here's our next speaker, Dr. Fabrada.
Thank you. After graduating from the University of New Mexico, I worked both in the government for Los Alamos National Lab and the Super Collider, and industry, including San Diego, with one of our industry partners supporting NGA. I joined NGA in 2003 and received my PhD at George Washington University with the support of NGA. Sorry.
Doing great.
Currently, I'm the lead data architect for both NGA and the IC community. One of my tasks is to
You're doing great.
One of my tasks is to develop a reference data architecture for the IC. It's important that we share and integrate our intelligence across the IC. We all need to be on the same sheet of music and use interoperable systems and services, and a common reference data architecture.
Thanks, Harargu. This is not as easy as it looks. And what she admitted was that PhD was done while working full time. So we're very lucky, very lucky. And if you're like me, she goes by Dr. H. It works just as well. Speaking of doctors, Dr. Andy Brooks is a critical part of our future because he's helping to get our workforce data enabled and data empowered. And as our first chief data scientist, Andy is literally a trailblazer, as you can see on the screen. Andy hails from the University of California, Berkeley, where he earned his PhD and helped found its leading graduate data science program. Before that, he worked in the San Francisco tech industry, growing startups and doing industrial research. Tomorrow at 1, Andy will be our speaker spotlight at the NGA booth. He will cover the Data Core, which is the new team that's transforming how we leverage data and technology at NGA. Now, the Data Core just stood up in December with a team of 5. We're at nearly 20 today, and we plan to get to 80 by the end of September. That is light speed for the government, but it needs to become routine speed. Now, their ultimate goal is to put themselves out of business. What I mean by that is their efforts are to transform our workforce into data experts. Andy will also speak about the Explorer program, where he's recruiting experienced tech industry professionals to help us solve our data and technology challenges. Now, these are short-term assignments where you can serve the government, almost like a stint in the Peace Corps, and you can do it without a security clearance. Now, here's our next member of Team GEOINT, and he will introduce himself.
My name is Specialist Kevin Wolbert from 3rd Infantry Division, currently supporting DCOS Ops J2 GEOINT in Bagram, Afghanistan. I create a variety of full-spectrum geospatial analysis products. We conduct GEOINT operations for Operation Resolute support. These efforts are utilized by the 39 NATO allied partners for operational planning, support to Afghan security forces, ensuring the rule of law and good governance for the people of Afghanistan.
Thanks very much, Kevin, and we will pass on your applause to him. Last year, I talked about that we needed a better way to work with, to partner with the private sector, and we were pursuing these public-private partnerships. Well, today, I'm proud to unveil a new NGA service that we're calling GeoWorks. It's a much easier way to access and work with NGA's data. Now, any US company, large or small, or academic institution, or just interested individual can gain access to our data and our tools and build something. Now, let me give you a short tour of GeoWorks. Here's the landing page. You sign up with login.gov. You enter some basic information, tell us about your interests, and accept the terms of service. Now we're in the site. It's simple, it has 3 main components: data, tools to work with that data, and GEOINT opportunities in which you can use both. Now, we've loaded 24 NGA data sets, plus numerous open source data sets, and we'll continue to add more. On the tools page, you'll find a data viewer. And you can also access Jupyter Notebook, TensorFlow, and other tools via Symphony, which was developed by our partner, MITRE. And finally, the opportunities page, where you will discover ways to engage with Team GEOINT. Right now, our first GeoWorks opportunity is a hackathon with SOCOM via their SoftWorks lab. In the future, expect this page to fill up and to be the primary location to access NGA engagement opportunities. Now, GeoWorks is not just a new website, it's a new way for us to do business. Christy Monaco's Office of Ventures and Innovation and Tanya Pemberton's GEOINT Services use truly agile approaches to create this site. From concept to launch in just 8 weeks. As I said, we're in to win. Our Chief Technology Officer and overall inspiration for GeoWorks, Dr. Anthony Vinci, will expand on this discussion at the NGA booth today at 1:30. And our GeoWorks lead, Andy Spage, will be available for in-depth discussions at the NGA booth tomorrow at 3 and Wednesday at 12:30. Now here's our next Team GEOINT speaker to bring us his perspective from England, where he leads a multinational team. This is Darren Muff.
Hello. I've been doing GeoINT now since the early 1990s. I'm part of a UK team that's been set the challenge to develop a 21st century GeoINT platform that will use Carbonite 2 and its motion video capability, together with a wide range of classified and unclassified sources. We're taking the UK's first steps towards a national space ISR infrastructure designed from the ground up to be both advanced and niche, and to augment the capabilities of our allies rather than to reproduce them. We believe that in doing this, we can make a richer, more predictive intelligence product that we can more rapidly disseminate to the decision maker wherever they are in the world.
Thanks, Darren, and don't you just love that GeoINT selfie? And now, the last of my co-keynoters, Jessica Sweet.
Thank you. I was a STEM graduate research assistant at the University of Minnesota studying abroad in Tunisia. Then the Arab Spring happened, and I was evacuated to Morocco. That got me interested in global and national security, so I responded to a call from an NGA recruiter. I was hired as a data scientist, and now I'm the program manager for the ICGS portal, which houses data from 130,000 customers across 55 different agencies in the cloud. It's the largest GIS implementation in the world, and it's on 4 security networks: top secret, protected internet, and World Wide Web. And it's expanding to other networks and deployments on edge node technology. Users across the IC and DoD can easily access data where they couldn't before. They can create, secure, and manage geographic assets and connect users with apps to accomplish their mission.
Thanks, Jessica. Jessica, you link all of our teammates together via the ICGS portal, and as the whole team comes back of my relentlessly curious fellow speakers, this is our future right here. You're looking at what winning looks like. All right, I'll let you in on something. They chatted about spelling out GEOINT on the stage, but no one could get the G, so it didn't go very far. But anyway, so Dr. H, Chelsea, Jamie, Samuel will be giving lightning talks in the Innovation Corner on the opposite side of the exhibit hall from the Government Pavilion and expand their stories. So please come see and speak with them. And for those of you who are focused on acquisition, like everybody in this room, I cannot recommend highly enough that you attend our panel on acquisition reform at NGA. It's on the Government Pavilion stage on Wednesday at 1. It'll be led by our Deputy Director, Justin Poole. And our new Associate Director of Capabilities, Jennifer Schnari, will be there as well. Only one person has ever been awarded a Nobel Prize in 2 separate fields of science. Her name, Marie Curie. And she said, "I am among those who think that science has great beauty. If I see anything vital around me, it is precisely a spirit of adventure which seems indestructible and is akin to curiosity." There's that beauty of art and science and art. The intersection of adventure and curiosity on that road to innovation. The historian Will Durant wrote, "Maps, like faces, are the signature of history." Those maps provided content within context to convey insight and confidence, and they were created by expert scientists and pure artists, our predecessors who remain inspirations to us all. And they mattered, they made a difference, they showed the way. True visionaries like Leonardo have always been willing to overreach and to fail forward to achieve their goals. For example, he never built a working flying machine. And we won't succeed each time either. But I wouldn't want to be anywhere else than on Team GEOINT, because there's a little Da Vinci in all of us. Now together, we don't just convey the when and the where of the most important national security issues of our time. We also deliver the who and the what, as well as the why and the how. But then, most importantly, what's next? Just as Gutenberg connected the world in a way that accelerated the Renaissance, our more transparent world has brought us great advantage, a 21st century Renaissance. And it's brought us unintended threats. In the face of such threats, pulling back or slowing down cannot be the answer. While we do look backwards in time, we are a field that must drive upward and onward, continually pressing out to the horizon. Now, I'm grounded by the belief that truth and freedom thrive in the light, and that when illuminated, evil is exposed and defeated. Team NGA, Team GEOINT, this room have always been enduring beacons of light to expose that evil, that threat, and enlighten those we serve to protect America and our partners. Now, we'll be able to accomplish all of this, thanks to our relentless curiosity. That was Leonardo's arc, and it's our arc too. We'll continue to innovate through art and science and art. Like our predecessors in the past and our successors in the future, we'll push to the edge and beyond. And may we at Team GEOINT continue to know the Earth, show the way, and understand the world. And in this era of increasing uncertainty, may we continually reach out to that horizon, bring the future into focus, and deliver true decision advantage to America and our allies. This is a critical contest. It is a race, and it is consequential. We must be in it to win. We need you, and I thank you. Thanks very much. Have fun.
Well done, Robert. That was quite a powerful ending. So, if we must win, and I agree we must, what does that look like for NGA?
You saw some of it. You saw glimpses of it. I don't, as much as I rely upon this room today and tomorrow for advanced technology and application, the next killer app that we'll use, the next non-traditional source, to me, the mindset is the bigger challenge, but also the bigger opportunity. So when I think of an NGA that's winning, we're healthily and happily contesting these ideas in ways that allow for innovation, tolerate failure, and push us forward, because if we ever get comfortable is when I think we begin to lose.
So let's pull on that thread a little bit. I recently read an article in Foreign Policy magazine about a program that I don't think you talked about. It's one where NGA is partnering with external groups, think tanks, nonprofits, universities, to grow authoritative open source intelligence and to do it publicly. And you're starting out with North Korea.
Right.
In fact, it went live yesterday or today. I downloaded the app for those of you who haven't. It's Tearline. It's in the Apple Store, Google Play. And the first article looks pretty darn good. So my question is this. Given the given the need to operate on classified networks, how do you keep this program alive? How do you work the culture of the analyst who might say, if it's not secret, it's not good or not good enough? And often the intelligence community claims that they want to innovate. They want innovation, they want disruption, but the expression innovate but don't change anything sometimes seems to trump.
No,
so how do you address that?
Well, a couple things. One, some 3 symposia ago, I used the term that we needed to figure out how to succeed in the open. that we had a great past of classified customers and an important future with those same customers, and we're going to have to add that open contribution. Tearline from the App Store is such an example. And Tish, I don't know that it will succeed, and I'm okay with that. This really is built out of our Pathfinder experience that we did early on. Chris Rasmussen, one of our most vibrant and vibrating of humans at NGA, God love him, is pushing the edge and the envelope. And yes, I have some teammates that are a little anxious about this. I told you about that mentality before. And we will learn through this application. Now, why start with North Korea? Why not? You know, why not just jump in and see? The first article is about a North Korean town that sits on the border with China. Everyone knows of the importance of China in the future stability or lack thereof in that region. Enforcement of UN sanctions, continuance of a relationship, et cetera. So, a long way to say, I think it's part of my answer to the other question about what we look like, Tish. I think this is just one example.
Good on you for doing it, and good on you for saying you don't know if you're going to succeed, but that's the way we push the envelope, moving out there. Last week at the Space Symposium, and I was not there, so I am told that Betty Sapp, director of the NRO, announced that the Enhanced View contract and acquisition of emerging commercial imagery capabilities is transitioning to the NRO. So what does that mean for NGA, and how do you see NGA's role with commercial imagery?
Sure.
Now,
thanks for the question. I know it's on people's minds. It's on my workforce's mind. So let me cover it in some detail. So first of all, you asked about a change or a potential change in the future. Let me tell you what's not changing. My functional management role of the Geospatial-Intelligence enterprise. My responsibility to capture, document, and present the needs of that enterprise across every aspect of contributors, whether they be Betty with her role to create national technical means, or whether it be a company that can provide us with commercial imagery satisfaction of those needs. No change there. What we are talking about is an evolution of the sustainment of that contribution, in this case, commercial imagery contribution to the satisfaction of our needs. And we are in discussions about making that transition, with the idea being thus: that we can together create a better architecture, or more efficient storage and applications, the blueprint that Dr. H spoke about, if we put those two things, the pixel ingest piece, in a place, this place being the NRO. Where it will become even more interesting, and we will have to continue this discussion, is the spectrum between pixel on one side and service on the other end. Most of this room, most of the floor upstairs have got services. That's still my responsibility in both hats, both as functional manager and as the director of NGA. Betty and I have stood up a place to have that dialogue, our commercial GEOINT activity. We're actually going to elevate that even further, likely in the future, to continue that conversation. So, yes, we might be transferring contractual responsibility, but to me, it's a continuation of my fundamental responsibilities. And there's an opportunity for Betty to provide additional services with both responsibilities.
Good. We look forward to an update on that the next time you're on stage.
Sure.
So I have a number of questions, Robert, about functional management. Mm-hmm. And you talked about the fact, obviously, you are the functional manager for GEOINT. How would you grade yourself? How are you doing in providing some of these innovative tools to the rest of the enterprise? And what are the biggest challenges to being able to do that?
It's funny you should ask me for a grade. I just had a town hall, pretty tough topic. Somebody said, how would you grade you? I stumbled and stuttered and didn't want to grade myself because I thought it was going to be bad. Somebody saved me by yelling out, E. Then they go for effort. And I said, okay, I'll take that. Right? So could I take an E, but I will say more about it. Look, some parts of my functional management responsibility are doing great. That certification that I highlighted earlier, that doesn't just happen because we hope it happens. That happens through hard work and detailed work with the certification boards, accreditation boards, and whatnot. So certification is going great. I would add that the publication of the very first enterprise capabilities document, which is our foundation of needs across agnostic of any sensor and any system, which had never been done before, was done last year. I can only allude to it and not go any further, but our future architectures that the government will fly have been scoped and studied and defined and bounded by the work of my functional management team. So, you know, it's tough to give an overall grade because there's more that we could and should be doing, but, and look, we've invested heavily under Dustin Gard-Weiss in our enterprise entity. When I tell my colleagues from the Hill, you know, don't you need more authorities? And I said, give me a chance to flex the ones I have. And so we intend to do that more and more.
Glad to hear that. So we've got a number of questions for follow-on to last year. You know, last year there was a lot of buzz about GEOINT Broker. Mm-hmm. Folks want to know how that's going. They also want to know how your Python programming skills have evolved. Because you also talked about that.
Okay, that letter grade is easy.
And is there anything that you've learned, you know, that you want to share with the audience?
The second one's easy. You do not want me to be anywhere near your Python script. Really, even if I look at it, I think it gets wrong, or it comes back all red, you know what I'm saying? But the first question on Broker, thank you. I alluded to it quickly in the speech. This wasn't meant to say anything about our lack of commitment, just the opposite. Broker is alive and well and developing from concept to implementation. We are moving that concept into our contracting vehicles, into our concepts of operations. So it is, in fact, a centerpiece to everything that we must become as a service and not just a provider of products. This will be a central topic at the acquisition panel on Wednesday at 1. And if you don't know Justin, he's a rather large guy, and he will be wandering around or walking forcefully around, whichever he'd like to do, and just tug on his shirt sleeve and say, hey, tell me a little bit more about Broker. You're welcome, Justin.
Okay, we are never going to get through even 1/4 of these questions.
Lightning round.
So lightning round, I'll pass them to your team.
Sure.
So you come to your current position from an interesting perspective from your last job as the Deputy D&I for Intelligence Integration. And there's a number of questions that have to do with, so how's it going? Are we continuing to make progress? Are we breaking down the stovepipes between the ints? And how is eyesight going?
So I'm going to deflect a little bit of that to my other boss, Sue Gordon.
To Sue, who will be here tomorrow.
But let me just tell you, as the director of NGA, NGA was one of the first all in with eyesight. Tish, you might know something about that.
I certainly do.
NGA has not wavered. We have not wavered. We know the upside of eyesight because, quite frankly, what we get back from such a connected world and such a data-centric entity is huge. So our commitment has not wavered. Sue should talk about the broader piece, but let me just give you a preview. It's going to be positive, okay? This is a good news story. Your other question about eyesight and
intelligence integration and how are we doing?
Okay, so how's it going? You're right, I'm more removed from that, how's it's going, and again, I think Sue will speak to that because she's much closer to it now. Our perspective is it's good to be in the GEOINT business right now. We've got a very visually driven discipline. We tell stories rather quickly and concisely, and thus the demand signal for our service has gone way up. So we feel relevant, we feel that we're being responsive, the demand signal continues strong, so from this seat, it's very positive.
Good, that answered another question. Wrapped audience here, GEOINT professionals. what's the one capability you need from them that you don't have today?
Well, I mean, I spoke that and again, there's a purpose between the art, science, and art. We want and need both. So my English majors are still welcome. My government majors are still welcome. We do need to raise the floor, as I said in the speech, okay, about our comfort with, our linguistics about, terminology around, data and how that can best be leveraged. I guess, and by the way, I think that's going pretty successfully. We've got more to do with the training program. Andy Brooks and the conversations that he's creating, what do you do with that data access? How do you ask yourself new questions about what's possible now that we have such access to data? So I don't know what the skill is per se. It's related to curiosity, of course. I often say the older I get, the less answers I know. I am getting better at questions. and quite frankly, that's often a critically missing piece because we get off on the old question. We answer it because we know how to answer that old question. And I guess this is a long way to say that anything that can offer some agility in framing the problem set, because that's the other thing too, this room is well aware, the world is much less straightforward, right? The threats and the vectors that are coming at us are so diverse. I think the way to think holistically is a critical skill that we need more of. I've joked that we need to hire coherence control officers. Their job is just to, herd things so that we can make a little bit more sense out of it.
You can report on that next year. Okay, one last question, maybe 1.5. You talked a little bit about NCW.
Mm-hmm.
You selected St. Louis City as the new home, and of course, I'm very pleased to see the project continue since I laid those funds in the program. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to see this decision now coming alive?
Yeah.
And it's not only huge for the agency, it's also huge for the city of St. Louis.
Yeah, Tish, there's little more gratifying in the job than what you just described. At the center of that is mission. I mean, the purpose of this new campus is to sustain the importance of our mission in the center of the country through the end and into the next century. That's job one. The opportunity that we were making a bet on with the placement is starting to play out. I mentioned the boundless move. There's a lot of both municipal and private investments being made now. To connect the city in different ways. Cortex, which was one of the attractive parts about the location decision, continues to thrive. Microsoft's coming in with their regional headquarters. We're having really good opportunities with data coding at the very grassroots level via launch code. So there seems to be a growing momentum. And look, our contract is out now. We'll award in less than 12 months and cross our fingers, break ground in about 14, 15 months. So this is becoming more real all the time.
Congratulations on that, Robert. Just one last. Will you be attending John Morris's Silverback Distillery whiskey tasting tomorrow night? And John, I think you just invited 4,000 of your closest friends. You don't have to answer that.
I think that's a trick question, yeah.
All right, Robert, thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
What an inspiring closeout.
Thanks, Tish.